17 members and associates of the Hells Angels are facing criminal charges in a violent attack.
Federal agents allege the outlaws sold drugs, traded firearms, and engaged in insurance fraud and even tampered with government witnesses.
We have learned there is cell phone video as well as surveillance video of evidence in this attack.
The U.S. Attorney characterized today's raids as historic, the largest federal bust on organized criminal gang activity.
Retaliation is common for crimes involving biker gangs. However, it could happen anywhere because of how interconnected gangs have become nationwide.
The 3-year investigation resulted in 42 federal indictments on a variety of charges, including racketeering, money laundering, drugs, gambling, insurance fraud, and extortion.
There's a bunch of bikers up here, and they're shooting guns and stuff. I need the police now.
But on foot going towards 2nd Street. Okay, receive.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today we're going to talk about the Hells Angel president who was convicted of putting some of his ex-members in an incinerator. If you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. I appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch this show. We go over old cases involving different motorcycle groups. I'm not going to call them gangs because I don't believe that they're gangs. But we go over different cases, maybe some old, maybe some new, but we go over a lot of different ones. But today we're going to talk about the president that was convicted. His name is Merl Hefferman. And he was the president of the Hells Angels. So I'm going to read a story. Former Hells Angel boss accused of disposing of bodies in the pizza oven, they called it. U.S. prosecutors allege Merl Hefferman, 54, illegally cremated up to 4 members killed by the group at a California funeral home. Federal prosecutors say that the former Hells Angel boss disposed of bodies up to 4 of the group's members at a Central California funeral home known to the gang as the Pizza Oven. U.S. prosecutors set out in gruesome detail last week on how they believed members of the gang used the Yost and Ad Webb funeral home in Fresno, California to cremate 4 men. The allegations came in the sentencing of Merl Hefferman, 54, the former member of the Fresno County Hells Angel chapter, who in December had pleaded guilty to disposing of the body of Joe Silva. Silva, a member of the Sonoma County Hells Angels, had been killed by another member in 2014. Crematorium member Levi Phillips had testified at the trial that he had received a call from Hefferman on July 16th, 2014, instructing him to be at the funeral home and to leave the hangar door open. Prosecutors wrote in their sentencing memorandum there, Phillips said he was threatened at gunpoint by 2 men while they loaded a body into the incinerator. Shortly after, prosecutors said Phillips received another call from Hefferman, this time telling him to keep quiet, according to prosecutors. Phillips' testimony corroborated by cell phone records. Only reason Hefferman wanted that access was to make bodies disappear without a trace. Prosecutors wrote Merl Hefferman arranged to have Joel Silva's body illegally cremated. But prosecutors last week also said Silva was just one of 4 bodies Hefferman appears to have helped disappear. Prosecutors allege Phillips told a grand jury that several months after the disposal of Silva's body, Hefferman contacted him again, to arrange yet another cremation. Prosecutors believe that second body that was that of Robbie Huff, Hell's Angel member who went missing in 2015, and according to prosecutors, colluded with Silva's murder and cover-up. The pattern repeated itself on a third occasion. Prosecutors say this time disposed of a body they believe to be of Art Karasis, a Hells Angel member who went missing in 2016. Phone records between Hefferman and Phillips corroborated Phillips' testimony, prosecutors said. So, like, the testimony going back and forth, it's like kind of can't. And he pled guilty to disposing of the bodies. So this is crazy because it's their own club members. It's like they're eating their own. And that's pretty crazy. Like, why would they have to dispose of so many bodies? Like, they wouldn't just let them walk away? Did they think they were cooperating? Like, what was the deal? But I believe that they probably, my personal opinion, and you know, my opinion really don't mean shit, but I believe that they wanted to get this guy in prison for now, and they're probably going to bring him up on more charges. So the prosecution did not name the fourth alleged victim, though Hefferman's attorney identified him as a Hells Angel member, Juan Guvriera. Hefferman has not been charged in connection with that case. And a fourth alleged victim. In the sentencing memorandum, despite ample opportunities to do so, it is clear that the government did not find Phillips credible enough to seek additional charges. So they just charged him with disposing of the bodies. They didn't charge him with killing them. That's insane. It's really crazy. So he ends up getting 4 years in prison. When reached for comment, Bustamante, I guess that's Hefferman's attorney, referred to his memo. Yost and Webb Funeral Home did not return for a request for a comment. Hefferman case is part of a larger racketeering investigation into the Sonoma and Fresno Hells Angels. The murder of Joe Silva occurred on the 15th of July, 2014. Prosecutors say he was lured to the biker gang's Fresno clubhouse headquarters and shot by Brian Wayne. Brian Wayne went after running afoul of another Hells Angel. The grand jury in June 2002 found 3 members of the gang responsible for the murder: Went, Jonathan, and Nelson, and Russell Taylor Otto. Hefferman was accused of disposing of the bodies, but not killing Silva. Silva's family said in a victim statement last week that not having a body to mourn over had impacted their grieving process. Not knowing where our son was for years, it is difficult and extremely emotional, they wrote. The Hells Angels, she used foul language. We'll just put it that way. I'm not going to repeat that. They took Joel's life over somebody's ego, and no one has the right to take anyone's life. Hefferman was sentenced to 4 years in prison on October 19th on obstruction of justice charges relating to Silva. What do you guys think of this case? It's kind of like, I mean, it's pretty bad when you're in a motorcycle club. It's a motorcycle club, and then they're disposing of bodies, and this gets to a whole new level, right? People, they start getting in real deep then. Hey, Lindsay, how are you? Rah, what's going on? Thank you for sharing the links. I appreciate you. Apollo, what's good? Thank you for joining me today. Corey, how are you? The eating their own is why the Mongols call them roaches. I didn't know they call them that. Frank, what's going on? How are you? Thank you guys all for joining me. Don't forget, we got a toy drive going on to make some kids Christmas this Christmas special. So we're going to help these kids out that are in the shelter, all the way from babies to little children. And we're going to buy them some presents and make their Christmas a little more enjoyable. And if you want to donate, you can donate through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Super Sticker, Super Chats. There's no amount that's too little. You can donate $1. You can donate $20. It'll make a big difference. The Cash App is Bill Staxx 2021 the Cash App is Chattin with Staxx. If you want to be a guest on the show, hit up Bill Staxx 2021 at Gmail. And remember, there's no amount that is too small. Every bit helps. And if I don't get any donations, I'm just going to do what I can. But I'm definitely going to make something happen. So I got a video to go with this situation. It's a little news video, and we're going to check it out. I figured the fire was appropriate, for the story.
Tonight, federal prosecutors say 4 missing Hells Angels were illegally cremated at a funeral home in Fresno, including a man from Contra Costa County. According to documents that were filed in court, 54-year-old Fresno Hells Angel Merl Hefferman was involved in the secret cremation of fellow member Joel Silva back in 2014. Federal prosecutors say Silva's body was never found after he was murdered for allegedly creating problems for other Hells Angels. They suspect 3 other members of the group were also illegally cremated. Hefferman has been charged with obstructing justice, in Silva's case, and are seeking a sentence of at least 7 years.
Yeah, it is pretty sad. The biggest enemy for that club is itself. It's pretty crazy. But to get that deep into it, where you start disposing of your own brother's body, that's pretty sad. It really is. So we got a couple different articles. We're going to read another one. It says, California Hells Angels have tortured and killed and cremated ex-members. Federal case reveals. I mean, that's just insane. It's crazy. I remember when the story broke. It was pretty big at the time. America's most notorious outlaw motorcycle club has rules, according to federal prosecutors, and breaking them can even for veteran members in serious trouble with leadership. Severe repercussions unveiled in a recent federal racketeering case in California range from forced face tattooing to being shot in the back of the head. What? Forced face tattooing? I've never heard of that story. But trust me, if I find that story, we're gonna go over it. So they're saying that forced face tattooing could be a punishment. The details have emerged in separate trials involving 11 suspects and 3 sister club chapters. 2 California in Sonoma County, in Fresno, and Salem in Boston area, Massachusetts. In one, a former Sonoma chapter president took revenge on a man who slept with his wife by beating him with a bat, tattooing his forehead, and assaulting the victim's wife while he was being held captive for more than 4 hours in November 2016. According to court documents, he suffered facial fractures and permanent damage to his eyesight. I suggest you don't sleep with someone's girlfriend or wife. You stay away from that. That's not good for your health in any aspect. I don't care who the guy is. You definitely don't want to sleep with someone's wife or girlfriend. That will drive some men insane to do some pretty drastic things. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, in another 54-year-old Fresno member has no prior criminal record, commandeered local funeral home to secretly cremate the remains of members who have been assassinated for picking a fight with a Salem Club member. Wow. So that's the reason. And this guy didn't have a criminal record. The Hells Angels murdered one of their own, the U.S. attorney said in a statement about blacklisted member Joel Silva. Club members did not hide evidence after the chapter's president from Northern California and two others killed Silva in 2014, according to federal prosecutors. 5 of the defendants have already been sentenced in connection with the case, according to the Justice Department. And other 5 are awaiting their fate, including 3 members convicted of murdering and incinerating a man. Fresno Hells Angel President Brian Wendt, Hells Angels Sonoma County Chapter President Jonathan John Nelson, and former HASC President Russell Ott. They face mandatory sentences of life in prison. Wendt, Nelson, and Ott were convicted last year of Silva's murder. Christopher Rainman Ranieri, the president of the club's Salem chapter, was convicted in May for his role in the masterminding the plot. Silva got into a spat with a Massachusetts member at an event in New Hampshire shortly before his murder. He had also been accused of bad-mouthing Nelson. So when Ranieri called his California counterparts to a meeting, they agreed that Silva had to be killed as a result. According to the Justice Department in the court documents, prosecutors say they lured Silva to Fresno's clubhouse on July 15, 2014, when Wendt shot him in the back of the head. Then Merl Hefferman, a member from Fresno clubhouse who had primarily been known for hosting annual charity events for needy children. This is the guy who used to get bicycles for kids in his neighborhood. He says he used to hold annual charity events for needy children, arranged for Silva's body to be cremated in a funeral home downtown. In court filings after his conviction, prosecutors allege that Hefferman may have helped a role in a different secret cremations. Moving his defense team protested because he had only been charged with obstruction of justice in connection with the Silva's death. After the execution, according to prosecutors, Ranieri flew to Fresno for a party celebrating the murder. For 8 years, the victim's family grieved without a body to mourn over, certainly about what had happened to their loved one. FBI special agent in charge, Robert Tripp, said in a statement. Raymond Folks, former HASC chapter president, was also convicted of racketeering case and torturing an ex-member who slept with his common-law wife. Folks beat him with a bat, tattooed him across his forehead, and assaulted the victim's wife while he had been held captive. Folks had not been sentenced yet. 5 members who allegedly were in waiting sentence are Hefferman's, who will serve 4 years, Jeremy Greer, who will serve 7, Russell Lyles, 63 months, Damian Sanina, 52 months, and David Diaz, 30 months. That's insane. Throw your whole life away. Hey, Brian, how are you? Thanks for joining me today. There are boundaries you don't cross, 100%. Calvin, how are you? X81 member in California will admit that they not doing too well. The other teams are way bigger now. Hey, that's what happens. Like, I think when they get too big, they start losing control of things, you know? I mean, I'm not a member. I don't have inside knowledge like that. I'm just going over some of these old cases. I think it's interesting. And listen, I want to make it clear that just because these members did stuff like this doesn't go for the whole group. I don't look at them as a criminal enterprise. I don't think that they are one. I think they're a motorcycle club. And I've spoken to quite a few ex-Hells Angels, and they say that each chapter is their own entity. So it's not one chapter's fault if another chapter is doing something. I mean, I spoke to Pee-wee about a lot of this, and he said he's seen other chapters treating other chapters like shit, like they used to battle them. Oh, we hate those guys. Like, they're your own members. Like, does it matter what chapter they're in? If they wear the same jacket as you, they wear the same cut as you, then they should be on your team, right? No? Instead, they have, some of them hate other ones, and it's just crazy. But there are conflicts emerging all over this country with different factions of different clubs. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to end well for any of them. I think they need to get it together. Make sure you go check out Pee-wee's book, Brotherhood, The Greatest Lie Ever Told, Charles Pee-wee Goldsmith. It's a great book. I got my copy. Go get your copy today. It's probably one of the best books out there. There's pictures in it. It's pretty detailed. And he explains. Here, let's take another look at that video. I got a bunch of other shows that I'm going to be doing. They're pretty good. They're interesting. And I'm not just doing it about this club. I'm doing about a whole bunch of different ones. And we're going to take a trip to London. We're going to do some of London's motorcycle clubs, some of Australia. Breeze, what's going on? How are you, Breeze? You would be surprised. Hey, nothing shocks me now after I read this crazy shit. Putting them in the incinerator. They call it the pizza oven. I wouldn't want to be involved with that.
Tonight, federal prosecutors say 4 missing Hells Angels were illegally cremated at a funeral home in Fresno, including a man from Contra Costa County. According to documents that were filed in court, 54-year-old Fresno Hells Angel Merl Hefferman was involved in the secret cremation of fellow member Joel Silva back in 2014. Federal prosecutors say Silva's body was never found after he was murdered for allegedly creating problems for other Hells Angels. They suspect 3 other members of the group were also illegally cremated. Hefferman has been charged with obstructing justice in Silva's case, and are seeking a sentence of at least 7 years.
And I got another interview that I'm going to be dropping with Richie. Shout out to Richie Hines, a former bank robber. So he was locked up with Freddie Diaz, the guy that allegedly killed Whitey Bulger. And he was locked up with Freddie and his brother Ty. And this is the guy that put them in prison. Areola. Scary Areola from Springfield, Mass. One of the biggest dirtbags out there. He went and got hair plugs. We're going to compare his hair plugs later on in the week. But it's quite funny. Another thing that I'm going to expose coming up this week is Sammy Gravano. That's right, Sammy Gravano and Anthony, what's his last name? Ruggiero. Two of the biggest dirtbags out there. Yep, we're going to expose them too. So, Anthony's father would be very proud. I'm sure he would. That he is hugged up with one of the biggest cooperating informants in the history of the mob. So we're going to dive into that, and we're going to talk about how Sammy Gravano is trying to capitalize on the Spark Steakhouse event. Oh, yeah, he was there, but he was in the bathroom with Anthony. And that's Anthony's father. I'm proud of you, boy. I'm sure he's very proud of you, Anthony. You and your newfound love. You guys make a great couple. Noam, what's going on? How are you? I do not know who that is, Henrietta. I do not deal with those types of people. Hey, Chris, what's going on? Shout out to Hatchet. We got a lot of content in the works. So there are 5 more episodes with Robert McNeese, and he exposes Sammy pretty crazy. He exposes the shit out of Sammy, to tell you the truth. Wait till you see these videos. It's pretty funny. And then we got some more of this guy. One of John Gotti's own personal hitmen. And we're going to go over some more of John Gotti Jr.'s interview with Patrick Bet-David. And we're going to expose Sammy Gravano. Matter of fact, we could take a look at one of the Sammy Gravano videos right now, where he's playing best friends with a cop. You believe it? With a cop. Let's check it out.
When I got busted for dealing drugs, did I actually deal drugs? Did I take the rap?
I got him on wiretap, proving that he dealt drugs. So all this, did I actually? Yes, you dealt drugs. They had evidence. You got convicted. You are a loser. You do not pass go or collect $200.
It's a great question. It's a complicated question. And they did a whole thing that's coming out in April or May. A whole thing. Talus, a company from England, investigated the whole thing. Now, I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Did they find you not guilty, Sammy, after you did 20 years? Did they find you not guilty? No, they didn't. That's why you did 20 years in prison, because you were guilty as sin. Now go call up your boyfriend, Anthony, and you guys should just run off into the sunset, all right? And stop the bullshit. Stop with your lies. You're not a gangster. You're a punk. And I'll be here to kick dirt on your grave when you're gone.
But you're going to be able to see that. Now, I'll answer the question as best as I can. No, I never bought drugs. I never sold it.
Yeah, Frank.
I lent them the money knowing that they were going to buy.
Thank you, Brian.
Drugs is a word that covers a lot of things. It was ecstasy.
Those aren't drugs. Those are ecstasy. You know, those aren't drugs. He's trying to explain the shit away.
To me, ecstasy lent them the money knowing that they were going to buy, not drugs. Drugs is a word that covers a lot of things. It was ecstasy. To me, ecstasy was not a drug that killed. It wasn't like heroin or anything like that. I thought it was like pot. And
Listen, ecstasy is nothing like pot, you harebrain. Nothing. Like you need a lesson. I think you need a lesson taught to you, Sammy Gravano. They should have put you in population and not in the WITSEC prison. They really should have. And someone could have brought you to school on that. Ecstasy has heroin, cocaine, all kinds of drugs mixed in it. It is not like pot, you idiot. And you had your family dealing it. See, he underplays everything. He doesn't take culpability for anything. He will not take responsibility for the shit he's done. Putting his family in harm's way, putting a gun to his son's head. His son's a punk too.
It's a love drug. In other words, everybody loves each other. Everybody's happy. You don't get hooked.
Yeah.
So it was a bullshit. To me, I looked at it as a bullshit drug.
No, but they still gave you 20 years for dealing it with your family. You think ecstasy is a bullshit drug and you shouldn't have went to prison? That's insane.
At the end, a decision came down that they really raised the limit on my son and my son-in-law and a few other people. And they didn't have me good. I'm not on phones. I'm not talking about drugs. I never dealt it. I never bought it.
I got tapes of you talking about the drugs on the phone, and we're going to go over those.
I just lent them money. But
he just lent them money. Such a liar. I got proof that he's lying right there.
A deal, and I
thank you so much.
My son was facing 45 years with the feds.
Good. They should have kept his ass in there 45 years. They should have kept you in there for 45 years as well.
45 years with the state. My son-in-law, big numbers too. So they said they really want you. If you take a plea and you admit to everything, we can cut them down.
Yeah. Sure thing.
Your son will get no more than 9 years. And your son-in-law. And
have a super chat from Scotland, Bill. I like your content. Thank you. Henrietta, I appreciate it. Cue Ball, what's going on? No, they were selling kilos at the time in the 80s. Heroin. Listen, these people are idiots. This guy will never take responsibility. Oh, it was like pot. Yeah. Ecstasy's like pot. Yeah, let's go with that one. Yep.
They said, you'd have to admit to everything, even things you didn't do.
Yeah.
Because I said, I didn't do that. And I did lend the money. I knew what was going on, but they said, you got to just admit to everything. What's the difference? If you're going to take the plea to cut them loose, you got to admit to everything. And you're facing 12 on the low, 15 on the high. I said, all right, make the deal. I'll do it. And I did it. But they went for an upward departure, and I got a 20-year sentence with the feds.
Good.
17 years with the state running together. I did 17 years, 7 months on it. My son got a sentence, I think, of 9 years, of 3 months. My son-in-law got that same sentence. They were out in 7.5. I was out in almost 18. I did 18 years. Now, I'm not trying to be a hero. I mean, who the fuck wouldn't do that for their son? I'm going to watch my son go to prison for 45 years. Never.
You got him involved with the drugs. You got him involved with the drugs in the first place. You did. So, like, stop acting like you're a hero. You're the hero, Sammy. You went and saved your family. No, you brung them into the mess. You should have got the death penalty.
In Kennedy, I would admit it to anything they wanted and end my life. If that's what you're going to do it. And the case was dirty. I hope this investigation they're doing now and this documentary, all I asked them, I talked on it, I was part of it, my son was part of it, my daughter was part of it. I said, just tell the truth. If I'm the bad guy and you got the facts when you do your investigation, say it. I did my time already. You're not going to hurt me. Don't worry about it. But if they did the wrong thing, tell the truth. And I think they will. They seem to be nice people, good people, honest people. So I think they will tell the truth. So we'll see what that comes out.
Don't worry. We're going to handle business. We're going to show the real you, Sammy Gravano. We're going to expose everything about you. You and your friend, Anthony. You and your little lover boy. Yeah, Andy, Fat Andy would be proud of you, Anthony. He really would. Thanks a lot, brother. You guys are so far up each other's ass, it's sickening. You're sitting in the Ravenite, because Sammy could never go back to New York. So you're sitting in the Ravenite on video chat. Does it look the same? Does the bathroom look the same to you, Sammy? When you were on your knees in there? Does it? Too bad you'll never be allowed to go back to the city you love. They don't want you. Just like the Italians didn't want your daughter. And this one, Areola, your day's coming too. Hair plug boy. We got a special we're going to do on your ass. Did you hear his little response to Joey Merlino? It was pretty funny. You're a cornball and a clown, Anthony. All you people are, all you cooperators. James, what's going on? Same thing with Barillo Lips. Barillo Lips, Anthony Areola, all of these clowns. They're going to get it. I'm telling you, we're not done with them. We're going to give them a really Merry Christmas. Don't worry, we're going to tell the truth, so you got nothing to worry about. But if you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe. We got a lot more content on the way. Hope everyone has a happy holiday. Remember, if you want to donate towards the toy drive, you can do super stickers, super chats, Zelle, Cash App, all that stuff. The Cash App is Chatting with Staxx. There's no amount that's too small. $1, $20. Any amount is greatly appreciated. I really appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch this show. Got tons of content on the way. If you're a member, I'm going to be uploading member content right now, right after this show. So there's going to be tons of videos for you to watch. Stay tuned for more Richie Hines and more Bobby McNeese. He tells a lot of great stories, and he exposes Sammy for what he truly is, the Crypt Keeper. But if you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad, start your own podcast. And remember, don't be a bitch.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.